I didn't turn on any microphones if anybody needs to turn them on.
They know to turn the microphones on.
Is that so more important one will be a text line?
My name is Amanda. Yeah, I'm the part-time.
Code enforcement.
Okay.
And she's filling in for Brian tonight. I thought you guys had met. Sorry.
I don't think I've got it either.
Well, I listen to all of you often.
She also helps.
Sorry.
She helps with the minutes, so she's naturally the right person to handle that.
I have to go fast. She got
I asked Scott Oliver to be here tonight too,
Oh, okay.
about the badging and the name tune stuff. He's going to come over. Yeah.
Like everybody was wondering why we were leaving Badger.
Well, I know the Neptune guys, when they were asking why did we change council collectively, change their minds again, it's like they can do that. Yeah, they can do that.
This is what Scott came up with. Their information.
We're
gonna well, there's not very many of the ones, it'd be easier to go back. And we can continue. And it seems like
You know that.
for service.
Yeah. We start on the earliest, 4-6 between the border.
Microphones are on.
Yeah.
Are we on here?
All right, ready?
We can start the service committee, do a call for roll call.
Cosgray,
Present.
Schaffner,
Be alive. You can't really vote, so. we should just-
okay. Foreman.
Present.
Also in attendance, Mayor Darley Reedy, VA Brian Holbrook, Chief Tussey, and council members Litz and Keller.
All right.
Approval of the minutes. Did you receive a copy of those? Or do you receive them? Okay.
Yeah, there'll be an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion to so. approve the minutes.
Favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So do we have any visitors that want to address the committee for service? Rick? Motion. All right. Visitors. 2023 goals, same as what's been laid out, 5-year plan for the streets, which was the water plant and the I project. And we've been updated on a lot of that stuff, and there's still some more stuff. And I think the village administrators report about some of those issues.
Do you want to wait till council or do we need to pass out some of the I&I stuff and the information on the plans?
I think we're going to pass it out now. Okay. That way we can just record that we covered it in the service.
Yes, sir. This is a spreadsheet that we started using when we sent out the smoke testing letter. Basically, it gave the addresses, and I will caution you, some of these entries do have names of residents on there, just to be sure that you know that. But you can see with the information we had, we did our best to identify the violations that, and those letters were sent out, and we immediately started getting calls from people who came by, and we talked to them about the violations. And quite frankly, there were a lot of violations. We weren't sure, we weren't clear on exactly what we could tell them. So we shared with them the photograph that we had from the smoke test, talked to them about the possibilities of what the violation might be, and expressed to them that we hoped that they would address it and take care of it. Some of them came back to us and said that they had, some of them were like broken clean out caps, things like that. And they would come back and tell us, there's another column that didn't copy on this. That actually had the remedies that they did to correct the problems.
Can you explain what the yellow part is?
No,
Okay.
I don't know why those are
Highlighted?
highlighted. I really don't.
Are we getting feedback as to when they've been addressed? Because I know some of these have been addressed because I supplied the material. So are we getting any kind of feedback from the property owners as to evidence that they?
Not unless they contacted us. We're not, we didn't say that we required them to do that in our letter. It probably look into the future would be a better thing to do.
Yeah.
I think we viewed this more as a informational process, let them know there's a violation. You need to
First
take.
step.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of them were very confused. They had no idea it was coming.
I know, I got to
Didn't
say.
know what it was
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And I was able to shed some light on it for the ones that came to me,
Yeah.
but when I say that, I'm talking like 3 or 4 people. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about anywhere near this list of people.
Right. And I think Mr. Boucher did the same thing.
Right.
He had ran into quite a few people that were, hey, what's this all about? And surprisingly, a lot of people who came in, at first they were like, what the heck's going on? But then after we talked to them for a while, they understood it. And they were like, hey, whatever we can do, just we'll work with you. So I thought we'd be doing it again. We'd have better information in the future and we could better help them understand what the I&I issue is. So I think it was a good first step. I regret that it took this long, but at least we're moving in the right direction.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think like this is a spreadsheet.
yes, sir.
So as I'd say like a month or so from now, we should kind of go line up, per address by address and update the status. And if it's been repaired,
Yeah.
update that on here as well. So that we're kind of keeping track of which ones are really not on here anymore.
Yeah.
And which ones still have to take action.
We are. And,
Smoke testing?
yes, our plan is to do it 24. And a lot of them left here with when I spoke with them, with the idea that, okay, I don't really understand what needs to be done. If I understood it better, I said, well, we're going to do a better job in the future. So maybe we can work together on it. I did have some of my operators go out to some of these homes and meet with these folks, which was helpful.
They don't understand it.
No. And many of them I heard, the same thing. I've lived in this house for 40 years, or I've lived in this house for 2 years, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I understand completely.
None of this gets uncovered in a home inspection, which
No,
the
sir.
sump pumps should. I don't know why it doesn't. We should put home inspectors on notice that they could be held responsible if they don't catch that.
Yeah.
Because innocent young people buy a house with their sump pump connected to the sanitary.
Yeah.
And they had a home inspection and the home inspection doesn't catch it. That's just wrong.
I agree.
And that's a big problem. And there's a lot of those in town. I'm talking like
Yes.
hundreds.
That's probably the bigger issue.
It is the
with
bigger
our
issue. for
I&I.
sure. And the smoke test doesn't reveal that because there's always a check valve to make sure nothing comes back, including smoke.
Okay, I'm not crazy, but how do they recognize that the sump pump is connected to
You
the?
can look at the piping and tell.
Oh, can you? Okay,
I mean, you can just follow the piping from the sump pit to where it goes.
okay,
If it's tied into a pipe that's also ties to your kitchen sink or your toilet, you're tied into the sanitary.
okay,
And there are hundreds of those involved.
okay.
And those are what's flooding the sewer plant.
And there's bigger issues. We've talked about this too, about whether or not those can get tied into sewer lines, whether or not, to storm sewer lines,
Yeah.
whether or not storm sewer lines are there,
They're not.
and they're not. And
So there is work that we need
Yes.
to do.
yes,
Once we identify the houses that have that, we need to give them instructions on what their options are. And oftentimes the reason it got done that way is because their options are pumping into the street or pumping on my neighbor, which is neither one is an option. And so we need to get storm lines for them to tie those into, which may require some work on our part, but it's not expensive work. It's burying empty pipes. It's not prohibitive at all.
No. And we are looking into there are some funds out there available for storm sewer. I think I mentioned to you about the East Side project.
Right.
Was something I sent off to find out more information about whether or not we could do something with that.
Which I guess there's more we can cover here. Have we got a report from V3 on that project yet? Because I haven't seen it.
No. This
Oh, Mr. Kenny's here to find out.
probably, yeah. We don't. The last thing I heard was we were working on the what are they called, right of ways or easement? I think they're easements.
Easements.
To be able to go in to the property. Now, I can tell you that we had Don Morrison, who was, and a couple other people, Steve from V3 and Tim Boucher. We were all in the back room here looking at those maps, trying to figure out exactly who was
That was
what.
last week.
Where we get easements.
Yes. And Mayor Reedy provided some information to us that was given to her by a citizen that had right of way or easement stuff on it from back in like the 70s or 60s even maybe. So, and all that information was forwarded and given to V3. So I'm hopeful that I just had an exchange with Mike Crane this morning. He's not the lead on that project, but he seems to be the one who cracked the whip to.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen
Yes,
some
sir.
sort of a formal report on a path forward before we gave him $30,000. You know,
I agree.
Well, I think that's done deal.
that we already gave him $30,000. I know. I'm aware of that.
But
I
there
was
was a
at the
report.
meeting with B3, they were here, and that's when I brought it up, and the one gentleman's like, well, I think we sent letters out. I said, no, you didn't, because I live there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a surprise to them, and that's how I got it all, I think, started back up. So we have some easements, right of ways. Jeff's checking on them, B3's checking on them, make sure that they're legal. And then the rest of us just have to give it. But
And then there, there's also, I don't think we should ignore the fact of what's going to happen on the other side of our property. If and when this is all, that water's moving that way,
It reaches a point where there's an uncooperative property owner, and I think everyone's agreed that once it's on his property, it's his problem.
I hope no one else is affected by it.
yeah, I do too, but
Anyway,
Okay, so we're good with the 5-year plan for everything and go to the reports for the village departments.
Can we stop back at water treatment plant?
Oh, yeah.
For the entire time I've been coming today, it was pushing 5 years now. There's been all intermittent water problems. And on here, there's a water treatment plant, but the real water problem is the pipes. And I mean, so I think that one should be water treatment plant and distribution, because that's where the real problem is. And it just seems like we don't spend very much time talking about pipe replacement. Well, I think everybody knows that pipe replacement is the elephant in the room for our water department.
And we have for the past, well, since I've been on council, every season we put in new water pipes.
Right, and we just did Granville.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think we need to try to aim a little bigger. And I brought it up the last meeting that we really, really need to look at the Market Street from
We
Holly
did put
Burger.
that in the ballot, whether or not the village wanted to put a millage on there to get a
Yeah,
loan to get that done for $20 million or whatever that was.
I think we should find out what it's gonna cost and then see if we can start making applications to put our money with other people's money to get the money on a grant or some other type of, start looking for the money. Know what we need, say this is what we wanna do. We need to replace this entire Market Street water line because it had a dozen breaks with an 8-inch line. We got the money to do Washington, and I also would like to know how that's coming. And now, we've got that one on the books. It's time to start planning for the next big project, which would be Market Street, and identify what we need, identify what it's going to cost, and then start looking for the money.
well, Baltimore residents need to understand that the income tax was 1964. We're still living on that money. And either we're gonna have to have development in here, or we're gonna have to start forking out money.
Right.
So we're trying to get the pipes done. Granville Street people are super happy. They have clear water. They're loving it.
I wanted to share this with everybody. This came in with the water bill. Says water's very good down here.
Yeah.
And that was nice.
Yeah.
Somebody, yeah.
That was Granville Street.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah, because leaving the plant in good shape, it's just not getting to the house.
Yes, sir.
And we all know why.
Yeah.
And
we've lived with it
Yeah.
because of not fixing as appropriate as they should have through all the years.
yeah,
So we're getting there.
yeah, I
We're
mean,
getting there.
first and foremost, we're in the water business, the water treatment business, and the water management business. And if we can't afford to get those done, we can't really afford to do some of the other things we do. So,
Well, I hope people remember that because I got some news for you about Washington Street. We looked into, our street supervisor had some, concerns about whether or not that, when that went out for bid, that was going to go for just water lines or for water lines and surfacing, road surfacing.
yeah.
It's only water lines.
Hmm.
So I talked with Mike today about that. And, I said, well, we need to do something about getting that changed. And so he said that we probably have to go into next year to do it. I don't know about the funding, if we're available for another OPWC grant or.
Yeah, because I thought when we
That's very
presented
good.
that, it was open dig the water line, a 12-inch water line from Tower Street to Market Street. And pave the streets in the same project.
I'm gonna have to find some,
That was what was discussed in council.
I don't doubt that at all. I've got to find some documentation that it went to V3 that way, because they're the ones who are putting it out for bid.
And is it out for bid now, at least
It's
the
gonna be,
water lines?
what is it? This month. It's like
30th?
next week.
So it
Yeah,
has,
it's like next week.
it could be changed. if
It
that's
can
what
be
council
changed.
asks.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I think if that's gonna happen, maybe it's something that message needs to be clear tonight to do that.
Okay.
He suggested, that we just handle the paving and their sidewalk that needs to be repaired too. The sidewalk's just coming apart over there with dirt. But, he suggested, yeah, when I say Mike Crane is the person I talked to there, he's project manager. So,
Yeah, I guess the intent when it went out was to do it exactly like we're doing the Rainbow project.
and
That
that's,
was a good result. It was like, there's no point in paving the street unless we put a new water line under it.
Yep.
Let's open dig it or a combination thereof. When you tie all the taps in, you're gonna have to cut it all up anyway.
Yeah.
And
Do
then
that
tie the
before the-
repaving right to the project.
my ignorance for not knowing any better, but, Mike, or, Tim's the one who brought it to my attention, said, and he even asked Brian Bibler, does this look like it? And Brian thought it was full, repavement and
Supposed to be done
everything.
the same way
Yes.
Greenville was just done.
So if I can find some, especially if I can find some documentation that says it should have been put out that way for bid, I'll definitely take it to him, but I
Thank you.
had done the research. But I think a stronger message would be from council to say, if you think that's necessary, but
Well, and that was our intent, so we can follow up with reiterating that.
Okay. And I'll carry that message to them for sure.
Okay, now you go.
It's all right, it's all right, that's why we're here. So the village departments, do we have anything from like, news from the water department or with the treatment plant that needs addressed?
At full council tonight, Mr. Oliver's going to be here to talk about the information from Neptune and Badger. And there is I did get that around to everybody, didn't I? Cost analysis for you to peruse. Prior to the meeting. So everything else I have, I believe. Tree commission, I think you covered that, didn't you? Yeah. You did.
Yes.
You did.
report.
So do you get any updates on dredging the lagoon? Plan that for next August or something, or it wasn't empty last time though?
It is not empty. I know that, we've been working on the smaller lagoon because, if you go to daughter's website and look at the photograph, you'll think it's an open lagoon. It was not. There were trees, bushes, cattails. It was covered. So we've been clearing that out. I know that the smaller lagoon's been cleared out. This week we're supposed to, working with the township, cut around the bigger lagoon to clear it. But as far as extending, are you talking about the plan to extend it further?
It sounded to me like before we
Or the dredging.
worry about extending it, we ought to dig it back to
The
its
dredging.
original depth. It sounds like it's about 2/3 full.
Yeah, we'll need to get, yeah,
So
that's a good way of putting it. So,
we're gonna call it that so we put it on field, right?
yeah, we need to work on that to make sure that we get the, keep the ball rolling on that, because I know Eli was looking into it.
So no update on
No, sir, not at this point.
Park and Recs, I know there was a meeting, public meeting about what's going on at Park.
We had a couple of meetings. I can send these around now and I'll have them for everyone else too. That's just our survey. These are the comments that came in. I've highlighted a few things on the comments just as a matter of information. We're still in the process. I was on the phone with Mr. Faco today. He's been tremendous help in this. The people at Hicks Partnership have been tremendous help. And we have narrowed the focus considerably. As you can see, I'm sorry, the colors didn't come through. Doggone it. Nothing ever works like it's supposed to, does it? You know, I don't have a clean copy of this. So the highest point was 64.29. And I believe, if I
that.
recall,
Don't know what to tell you.
I know, I don't know why. No, it was not the
I
path.
think it was walking pass.
No, 58% was the walking paths.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I'm going to do before the council meeting is I'm going to go back and have this figured out. But yeah, bathrooms, the park benches and tables, the walking path, and additional parking was far down. It's the first one there, 22.32. But I think everyone agrees that that's probably one of the biggest things that we need over there. Yeah.
And it's what?
Parking.
Got it.
But it was low on the list.
Well, not that many people use it unless
Right.
they have a small
Right.
reunion. They don't see the problem when you have swim teams and
Right.
everything going on.
Right. But they were more interested in things like an open air shelter house, like we talked about, a pavilion with the bathrooms, park benches. The walking path was high on the list, and children's play equipment was the other one that was high on the list. So those are the things, you know, I
68 is bathrooms.
okay. Thank you.
68? That's not
No,
on there.
64.29.
Yeah, those are bathrooms.
It is, okay.
5982 is park benches. 5804 is children's equipment. And 5804 are walking paths. Those are the top four.
So that's our focus. And I believe we have to kind of stay with the parking situation. That I think it's something that needs to be addressed, even though it wasn't one of the top four. You know, we had a lot of other suggestions. As you can read through some of the comments, I thought I will caution you again that in the comments there is a name with a phone number in there that we'd like to keep from the public. I don't think it's necessary for that information to get out. It's at the bottom of the first page. Most of us know that person and have a number, but as a matter of privacy. That's all I have. If anybody wants the reports for water and wastewater, I've got a couple of different ones. If you want them.
Yeah.
Okay. First page is going to be water for September 23. I did put the monthly. I'll wait till it gets around to everybody. Did I give you enough? Okay. The monthly there in the left-hand corner. Over to the right, I used August past due balance. I wanted to show that in relationship to the delinquent account balance and the type of grid that I used for September. And then in water treatment, I'm showing raw and finished, just in a bar chart on the right-hand side for September. And then on the second page, I'm showing the fluid flow, the rain, and the paper mill flow. And the paper mill, this chart, I don't know that this chart really does us any good. I'm not sure what for that last chart I'm looking at. I don't know. The gallons are consistent flow. And one of the things we were talking about the storm water and the sump pumps. If you look at the wastewater treatment plant in September with the fluids rain and the paper mill, if you look at the affluent flow and the rain flow, you can almost see the spikes, at least on 2 or 3 occasions, 4 occasions probably, where you see it pretty steady.
The delay speeds have been something.
Yes. Yes. And I will tell you that Eli and Ryan are working with the flow meters to move those around and find out better where some of that infiltration might be coming from, isolated in certain sections of town. Hopefully.
Randy's not here for BDRC so much. I wanted to hey, got the winter festival coming up, and they're gonna be doing windows up there. Anything else in the reports? Anybody? Go to old business and we say range project. We touched on that a little bit. So there's no we don't have a report from you.
I'm going to make a big note here. No report yet. And I'll touch base with Mike and Steve. So I think we know what needs to happen here, right? It's just a question of making sure that everybody's aligned.
Just that council insisted that an engineer verify what we validated.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I have on the east side.
Then the new business is the meters, the Neptune versus
Yeah.
VOB.
This is probably my bad. I asked Scott to address the entire council because that's so
That's fine.
he'll be here at 7.
Next meeting?
Yeah, so next one will be the 4th Monday in November. 6 p.m.
Form makes a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, aye. Aye. You're adjourned.
I guess I could have brought this up during service. Remember Debbie asked for a alley maintenance policy. I did draft a very short draft. It's just to get the discussion started. I can provide it for council if you want.
Why don't we wait till he's here?
Okay. All right. You got a copy of it. Would you all like a copy of it too?
Yeah, why should a copy? I like getting it ahead of the meeting.
Yeah. I wish I was better at getting things out. Ryan does a better job at it than I do.
this will need to be on the next service meeting. That's right. Galleys.
This should be in the agenda for the survey.
Service meeting, yes.
survey.
So we'll just get a preview of what we're.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And feel free to mark that thing up, send me marked up copies of it or drop them off or whatever you want to do with it. I'm sure Ms. Shopper will have some things to add to it, maybe ask some questions. So,
I'm here and you can hear,
hi,
I can hear you.
okay.
All right. Safety committee, Brady's not here to.
The way you run the meeting, you want to run it.
You can,
You
it's
can have it. You want
okay, I'm
Okay.
learning, so I'm listening and
it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, the safety committee, meeting comes to order at 6:27. On a roll call, please.
All right, McCreary absent, Litz, Keller,
Present.
also in attendance, Mayor Darla Reedy, VA Brian Holbrook, Police Chief Mike Tussey, council members Foreman and Cosgrave.
Okay, the minutes of September
And
20.
Schaffner.
Oh, sorry.
Gotcha.
Be a live stream.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
let's make some motion to approve the minutes as written.
And I'll second it. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing now, roll call.
McCreary absent, Litz.
Yes.
Keller.
Yes, motion carries. Visitors. Yeah, and you guys want to talk on the, okay, that you came anyhow. Always nice to have you come to the meetings, committee meetings. Okay, goal for 2023, zero workplace accident. I think we're starting around the nail. That's good. Zero workplace accident.
I would like to say something about this. When we're looking at clothing for the winter, we're looking at high visibility stuff for our guys
Oh, okay.
to wear, to make sure that I've got some stuff in my office already. But it's starting to get cold now. They're going to need to bundle up. Everything we're looking at is going to be safety related things for them to wear. Yes, sir.
Okay, report, Joint Administrator.
I guess I could have waited a minute for that. couldn't I?
Yeah.
I'll figure this out someday. Up the top of the Mulberry and Mill Street on that turn.
Okay.
We've talked about Mill Street before. I talked this over with Mr. Boucher the other day, and it looks like all that we need to do is add no parking signs at the top of that hill. For it would be coming off of Mulberry westbound to turn southbound onto Mill Street. There's an area there that needs to be clear, especially during inclement weather, but in general for any vehicles that are turning there. We initially talked about the whole street, but really the rest of the street is taken care of because the residents there have off-street parking, which is safe. So we're in good shape there. So
People complaining about that. I know I traveled that before, to make that curve. That turn, but has there been people?
yes,
Okay.
it's very difficult to plow when snow's
Yeah,
on.
I'm sure the.
So that's where the most of
That's
the,
what, okay.
that's where most of the information is coming.
Truck, you know.
And I think the other part of it is because there's a new house there now. I think it'd make it a little bit better for
Okay.
those folks to be able to get out of their driveway. Yeah. So is that going to be something that needs an ordinance, or is it just something we can?
I would think, I don't mean to add Jeff, but if we need to put a sign there, it's no parking 10 feet. from
That's
here
what I
to
was
there.
thinking.
I mean, most corners, there's no parking from here to
Yeah.
the corner already, so I don't think we need to pass an ordinance to do
No,
what should have already been in place.
Probably, yeah, probably should have. Okay. The only other thing I'll say about streets is I think the situation up here on North Main, I know it's better because the lady who used to talk to us about it told me it's a lot better since the center line was moved over.
Right.
And also since the curb was painted the other day, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Mr. Boucher had the curb painted, so it's yellow now, so.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of those need revisited with paint. Maybe next year is a little too late this year, but
There are a lot of, street signs that need to be,
just put back.
yes. Road signs,
Curbs are getting to where they're
Yellow
almost getting a
curbs,
bit hard
yeah.
to see.
there's a lot
I
of
know right there
markings.
on High Street at Market.
Yeah.
They park right.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's no yellow curb there. There's none.
Yeah,
And I don't think council needs to handle all that. I mean, those should all, I mean,
you're right.
20 feet from the intersection should be automatic. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so. I'm looking through, I don't have anything else. For safety, no, I don't.
Okay, we'll move on into the police department, chief.
Thank you. One of the things I was going to bring up tonight, and Brian touched on it, but so we've been monitoring that north area where the line was moved. And we have not had a single complaint, accident, anything since that line's been moved over. That seems to fix that problem. I'm really grateful that ODOT was so receptive to what the village had recommended to them. Let's see, now the mundane, that close 6 hour service. We've got an ongoing electrical issue with the car to the point that we didn't think it was safe to be driven. We had it to 2 different shops. They could not sort it out, figure out what was going on with it. So finally, kind of bit the bullet and took it back to Ford. They had to disassemble pretty much the whole nose of the car in order to get in. Each side of that car has a computer control for the lights, the headlights, turn signals, whatever it may be. The one on the left side had some kind of a short in it. And that was the reason that all of a sudden that running light would just come on. You drive down the road and we wouldn't, if you're in it, you don't have any idea. So anyway, they went through everything. They had to buy a new wiring harness because whoever that short was had burnt that wiring harness that goes to that. But we got that back today, so it is back in service. We've got all of our assignments figured out for Baltimore and both contracted villages. The contracted villages are both having their trick or treats on the 28th. In Baltimore, we'll have our regular contingency out here, and we will have Officer Farmer. It's going to come out a little bit early, and through the evening, he's going to remain on a bicycle so he can kind of move around places and be places they wouldn't expect. I know this sounds like beating a dead horse, but we're working on the state mandated CPT training. The problem is they mandate 24 hours of training, but this is the problem. It's not 24 hours because you have to go in, open it up. There's a lag between the time it starts. So ultimately 24 hours, we think it probably comes out to be about 32 hours, 33 hours. That's physically sitting in front of a computer to get that done. It's mandated by the state of Ohio. Any officer that fails to complete that before the due date, which is prior to the first of the year, will lose their licensing to be a police officer in the state. So a little draconian, but this is the best part of this. So they gave us 8 new classes that we had to do, 8 hours of new classes. And about half of them actually are something that probably are good for keeping officers safe, keeping the public safe. The rest is filler. Then they said for the remaining number of hours that you could go back through last year and just redo those classes over. Well, the unfortunate part is in a year's time and anything you're dealing with, anything the legislature would have any involvement in, or just the general fabric of what's going on, all that stuff changes. So they end up sitting there watching all this stuff. I completed 3 hours today and it took me about 4.5 hours to get it done. Now, figure everybody at the department has, I mean, I'm talking if you're a volunteer, if you're part-time, full-time, makes no difference. Everybody has to do that. So we're in a real pickle circling, trying to get as many people as we can through. But originally what caused this problem is they told us that they were not going to do it because there was no money to do it. And then the 11th hour, they come out and said, oops, we're sorry, but we are going to do it. Now you figure out how to get it done. I know you can't believe that, but that's what it was sometimes. The upcoming Christmas light parade, we got the information on that, and we've been working on that, getting that staffed. And we're looking at maybe throwing a couple little twists in there with police equipment that we're going to light up and drive it in the parade. So a little over 18 months ago, about 20 months actually, the state has mandated that we have to update all of our policies, all of our operational procedures, be in conformance with a group called the Ohio Police Consortium. And the Ohio Police Consortium is a group of people selected by the governor who say you must, you're, like, for example, you have X number of things that have to do with community service, de-escalation, just a whole lot of things in there. It is very, very, very time consuming, very time consuming. Bigger agencies, they just pick somebody and say, get it done. We don't have that ability. So I was very happy week before last that the facilitator came in, and we took about 3 hours, and we went through the new rules, regs, everything we've done, and then you have to document why you've done everything. So it's really drawn out, but we got that done. He signed off on all of it. We sent it in, and now we'll get a certificate that says we are recognized as being a part of the Ohio Police Consortium. And then every year they will send us maybe 4 or 5 updates we have to do, which that is manageable. But to literally start and go through everything has been interesting, to say the least. Officer Munkachi is in still training, and fortunately, with his extensive background, it's basically just learn the streets, the businesses, and how they do paperwork downtown. Everything else is kind of on hat, so we hope to have him out on his own pretty quick. We are interviewing 2 people. Looks like both of them will be on Wednesday to fill a part-time position that's been open for a while now. Both of them seem like really good candidates, but the deputy chief interviewing both of those and trying to come up with the best fit for the department. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody have any questions, Chief? Okay, going into old business, parking issue on the corner of Mulberry. Man, I think probably pretty well we take that off the agenda, man, because it seems like it's pretty well settled everything. So we'll take that off our agenda. Unless somebody has anything you want to bring up on parking on High Street. I know we talked about we're going to strike it. I don't know.
Yes, I think that's all that we're.
And once we get
It's not
that
done
done,
yet, so.
yeah, I think once we get that, then we take it off too. And so
I know Tim's been talking to the people that are doing the over on Kilmer. So they're gonna take care of that.
sounds good. If nobody has any old business, we're doing the new business. Room and Walnut Street.
I was talking about a 4-way stop there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I couldn't.
Yeah.
They're building the duplexes over
Yeah, he broke ground. He's working up there now.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
The family was on like the corner up there, and they raised some concerns about that being an unmarked intersection, which now it's just a turn, so it's not a big deal, but they had some concerns because their driveway literally comes out right into that intersection. So.
So the stop signs up now or?
No, sir.
If it's on order or something?
The last time I talked to Tim about it, it had to do with the water line. So we're beyond that now. I believe. I said that now I'm thinking, did they actually pull the water line down there? That was the only concern that was holding it up.
Okay.
So if that's taken care of, the signs will go up.
I asked a question on it, and maybe I'm going to pull this out fast, but if you have something that's already in the codified ordinance, and for example, like the setback from corners, it's already in there. It's just a matter of putting something.
Implementing it.
Yeah. But if this intersection up here has never had stop signs,
No.
when we need to have an ordinance since it's never. Because we have the traffic map, and I think everything on the traffic map is referenced to.
We can add Jeff when he comes in if we need an ordinance, but yeah, I don't know, Chief. You think he needs a stop sign, we put them up, but if we gotta have an ordinance to make a signal.
Well, the issue for us is that if we were to have a crash,
Oh, I see it. I'm saying, well,
and I go in the
Whether it's
corner, the
illegal.
attorney goes,
Yeah.
well, hey, wait a minute.
yeah, I know how number attorneys are.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well,
I believe I did.
Yeah, Jeff, next thing down here. Bring up doing safety.
I think I did pose that question to Ron Bidler, who works these types of things. And I'm trying to remember his answer specifically. I'm sure if he was here, he'd let us know. I don't think, at least I don't remember that he said it needed an ordinance, but Chief's got a good point. If it's not.
Yeah, I see we get the attorneys involved, yes.
Well, you remember we ran into that, I can't remember exactly, somewhere around the high school, somebody had went out and bought their own handicap parking sign. And folks, when I came here, it was like, what's a handicap sign?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And when I went to enforce it, then the guy that lived there said, well, that's not a real sign. Well, so the guy bought the house from it, put that sign up, but so we had to come back here, check to see if there was an ordinance for the sign, which there wasn't. And then that's what triggered starting to look at a lot of these handicap signs around the village, make sure that there was an ordinance for them to have that sign, so.
Anything else on Middle Street?
We just talked about
That
it.
was the one.
Oh, that was it. Going
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, once that gets done, we can definitely take that off. Anybody have anything on new business they want to bring up? Well, hearing none, our next meeting will be the fourth Monday in November the 27th, right after the service meeting.
Good thing these meetings happen, these committee meetings happen. Are you done? You're off.
Good.
On the same night? Because they overlap so much.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I'm sure that's by design.
Sometimes it's like we get a little redundant in council though, like we cover the same area, but that's necessary. Yeah,
Well,
if everyone was here.
speaking for myself, it's probably good for me to go over things a couple of times. So make sure I don't
Just
stay
on
on
the
track.
public aspect, maybe a new visitors come in.
Well, and then from the past, we had a council
Meeting on different night.
right? So sometimes 23 would come up to that meeting, and the other people would know what was
So
going
you
on.
had to go back and report to the rest of the council what was discussed
Yeah.
on the committee meetings. Now it's redundant.
Yeah, everybody comes early and hits both meetings.
Well, and it's like, that's why I was saying to all the committees, they need to send minutes. Because people come up to us and say, well, what happened in the tree commission? And
Planning committee.
And you're like,
especially, or-
I don't know. when
Yeah.
you're on council. So that's what I'm really after. I need minutes.
Has the person?
He, no,
It sounds to me like they're wanting to building bathrooms like that themselves. Backstairs.
I think those woods need to come down. The kids are getting ate up.
Between 158 and I don't know where the woods are.
Yeah, if we go down somewhere right before you turn into Oakwood,
Yeah.
there's a set of woods there. It is a swamp, and the kids are getting ate up. Football players and stuff.
I haven't, but I can see that it's a swamp.
We had a runaway that somebody saw run in there. And I hadn't been here a minute. I'm like, it's the woods, I'll run in the woods. See, I know I'm up to my knees. I mean, it is just muck.
Who owns that?
We do.
We do that Woodsville?
That's what I was told. We own that, the woods and all part.
Well, I knew we didn't, that was down there too. but-
Yeah.
The woods were-
I didn't realize the wood was part of the park. I didn't either.
Somebody told me it was.
Maybe we need his.
I lived on Fairfield County, it's easy enough to live on Fairfield County.
True, true.
So I'll just look. But yeah, that's interesting.
You seen it pick up with a lot of traffic since that car lot movie.
I know they have a pretty good business, but I haven't noticed appreciable difference really.
Is that somebody we know?
No, they're actually from Nepal, or they're from somewhere else. They were in another state, and being able to rent that place at an affordable price and have their own lot and what really.
Wow.
So I think they came here from out of state because it was an affordable place to go for their own lot. He was in the car business, so they're immigrants. Nepal doesn't sound right.
No, you're right. It's Nepal.
It is Nepal.
That's nice.
You can look almost by the parking. Noise that they can do it.
That new business that went in to Weavers. are they gonna be-
They've never been told to.
I know we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I go into an existing building to open a business, I have to present a plan and get a permit and get everything looked at, and I don't know why some people are held to one standard and other people are held to a different standard.
We're talking about 108 East East Market.
108 East Market.
Yeah, the car
I think
run.
so.
No, we're talking about the
We're
golf
talking about
station.
the-
We were,
Oh,
Yeah, we're talking about the golf station, one, and then right now we're talking about the old. Hut.
Oh, okay.
that was referred to the county. The owner is well aware of it. He's got to go down there to get the change of occupants.
Occupancy permit.
Yes,
Is this the Apple store?
that's about,
It's been. I know he already had an occupancy permit for
it was, yeah, and it's not changing,
he went out of building, not change use.
right, it's not changing use, it's just change of occupancy because it was a car shop before. And now it's just gonna be tires, brakes, struts, stuff like that.
You're talking about the golf station. This one over here, this one over here.
Right.
We're jumping all over town.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm getting whiplash here.
Sorry.
We jumped from the golf station to the hardware store to
Okay,
old
so
Napa building to.
the golf station was the old.
It was a car lot before, it's still a car lot.
Yes.
Okay, so we got that covered. The Apple
Well, I don't
store-
know, I haven't talked to anybody down there about it.
Whether or not it ever got an occupancy permit before.
And then we're talking about Weavers.
Yes,
Yes.
and I've got that on my,
We're not online.
I've got it right here.
I stopped it a bunch of times.
I don't think we're saying anything to be.
I think it's just extremely delayed.
Recording pause. There you go. Now,
So
Yeah, it was paused when I walked out.
this is
now we're talking,
signs.
No, Weavers.
We got to that one as well.
We're done with
where Ken Mauger used to work also.
Yeah.
Where
we're
the tire.
talking about.
This is
government.
actually across from Mr. Walker's home.
Yeah, we're
He-
talking
This
about
is a sign,
that.
Yeah.
this is a sign permit that I got for the garage door. Now, God bless him, he hasn't done anything on it yet, so that's better than a lot of people. And, he just wants to know if that's an appropriate sign, and I'm looking at our signage zoning requirements, and it doesn't violate the actual sign, but it's more of a mural, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
And depending on his building, so.
Yeah, I know, like that came up when I built the Hardware Grove Court, that they differentiated artwork from signage.
Yeah. Was that for the better?
Yes. They wanted to encourage it.
Yeah. And I don't really know that we want to discourage this, you know. He went through the process. I mean, he sent all the information.
I guess the artwork we were discussing there didn't include the business name. That'd be the differentiator, maybe.
Yeah.
What we were talking about putting up would have just simply been pictures.
Yeah. I mean, he calls it a mural. So I don't know.
He's not buying it.
He's leasing.
He's just listening.
I've heard two different stories. So,
Beavers.
Probably hear more reports.
but see, that's what when someone told me that, I went, we were so, yeah, they did.
And then we talked about the Napa store, old barn. How's that going?
Yeah, that's a long time ago, but then he's going to the county for.
Yes.
Yeah, he talked to me about it a while back, and he said, well, let me check into a couple of things. And I tried to get a hold of Bill Toole, you know, Bill. Yeah, and never did. So finally I just called down and talked to Shar down there. She's sending down.
Well, and what he wanted to get done this year was pour the concrete, and that didn't require a permit.
No, not for that property, it doesn't.
Which is an issue with our whole percentage of coverage problem on residential too.
It's not residential.
I know, I was just bringing up a separate topic.
I think-
Yes,
I
you're
think-
right, it's business, but there is no permit required for concrete.
Right, that's what you're saying is if we're going to restrict how much
Which
concrete.
carries over a problem in our residential ordinance we passed,
Yeah,
that it has no teeth because you don't need a permit to put down gravel for concrete or put down blacktop. So how are you gonna regulate percentage of lot coverage, but for the buildings themselves, which is a separate topic from what.
but yeah, that probably should be
We were going
revisited.
down a rabbit hole.
You weren't here when all that happened.
I remember some of the discussion about that.
And so then this building has to go through
The county,
the county also.
yes.
When you say this, you talking the corner?
Corner.
Okay.
yeah,
I want to make sure.
The tire shop.
I think it's 100 all the way in 108, and 108's the last one. That's where Circleville Tire wants to go.
Circleville Tire, okay. But we don't know if the building is habitable yet.
Well, we're going to rely on the county to do the inspection to make sure that it is
Okay.
up to code for that purpose. Now, about the rest of the building, that's a whole different matter. And as far as code enforcement stuff goes, I mean, I reached out to county health department. I actually had, let's call them an informant who had inside information on some of our properties that are violators, and brought that to me in the way of photographs. And I even went with that to the health department, and they were like, can't do anything with it, it's inside. I'm like, you can see this, and this is wrong. You can't tell me that there's something that can be done. So we're probably going to have to go at it from a zoning part of it. Yes, because it's already on that agenda. But
I don't understand.
Structurally,
how a
I think
person
there's
is
some
having- if a
issues that we
person-
weren't aware of.
If a person can't take care of themselves, we can't help them.
That's the Adult Protective Services, APS. It has to be extreme. It has to be to the point where someone is like unaware of their surroundings and unable to take care of themselves, according to the point where they can't.
I guess if I was that person, I understand. If I still had.
Yeah.
nobody's gonna tell me what to do. You know, so. But
It's a lot of pressure on them.
I agree with that.
You don't have to make a lot of decisions.
So my daughters are for now.
Scott? Good.
It's got,
Yeah, it's, Rick's got a good point about the, ordinance not catching up to the practice not catching up to the ordinance, I guess. On the permeable surfaces and stuff.
what do we do about that?
It changes the requirement for a permit for concrete or blacktop. Not gravel though.
Or change the percentage?
Considered impermeable in
Is
the
it?
ordinance.
Okay,
Gravel is.
It's considered impermeable in the ordinance, even though everybody knows it's not.
well, we use it to drain.
I'm aware of it. And you really don't want somebody taking out a concrete driveway and put in a gravel driveway so
No.
that they can build another building either.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
But I thought we already have an ordinance that all driveways are in Baltimore are supposed to be concreted.
that we have
Or
before,
blacktop.
that we have before.
Right.
Zoning code, the part of zoning code.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and are we going to enforce it on existing or?
There's a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
is kind of going by the wayside. Hey, I've only been 4 months, but I've been trying to catch up.
No, they won't.
We're doing great.
Well, it's back to the issue of gravel and the alleys.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Gravel. So if the village can have gravel alleys, why can't the rest
A
of the
resident have a gravel driveway.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I wasn't
That'd be
here-
neat.
I wasn't here where it was passed, so. I don't think any of the rest
I
of
think
you were
maybe
here.
I'm a little girl.
When did you start on council?
24 years ago.
24 years? 2000.
2000.
Have you always been on council or did you ever serve as mayor or anything like that? No.
I've always been on council.
Not yet. It's a real high-paying county job for you. And then you draw PERS on it.
I got retired. I'm trying to get a purse from here. And I'm like, what is it, 6 months? Yep, you gotta be off.
I think I read that somewhere.
I think it's 3 months.
It's 90 days to be real, like, I have to
Yeah,
take 90
3
days.
months.
3 months, okay. I got okay. January, February, March, I ain't doing nothing.
Right,
Start in April.
right. When are you leaving to go to FLA?
Florida?
Yeah.
Probably, I got a doctor late in November. Probably, I might stay off the dinner season now, first week in December,
Okay.
since I gotta be around that long.
You're only gonna miss a few meetings.
Yeah, I missed one meeting
We
with
always
December,
cancel
I only got one.
The last meeting is Christmas.
Yeah, we cancel
I'm
it.
not gonna be here.
Right.
So you ain't got one.
So we only have 3 meetings left.
What?
You have 2 in November, and then the first one in December. That's it.
I'm liking his job a little better.
You have more.
Yeah, we only have 3 meetings.
Yeah. I'm amazed, I was telling Tammy, I'm amazed at how many years this job really
Entails.
to do.
If you went to all the ones, you probably
Yeah.
should.
I mean, it would be my life. That's not.
I've been a little remiss on some of the BDRC meetings, but I know Greg is there. But I really should.
I would just have it.
Really?
Okay, so we need. My father, would you like to-
Probably be the name. That will be done. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're open the meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Cosgray,
Present.
Keller,
Present.
McCreary, absent Foreman,
Present.
Litz,
Present.
Schaffner. I don't think she's on there. I think she's been gone for a while.
We didn't pick her up. or anything,
No, I think she left.
did
Oh, others in attendance, Mayor Darla Reedy, Police Chief Mike Tussey, VA Brian Holbrook, Solicitor Jeffrey Faco.
The approval of the minutes of the October 9th public hearing.
Form makes a motion, we approve as written.
Second.
Second,
Liz second.
let's,
Cosgray,
roll call.
Present.
oh, yes,
Yes.
Yes. approval of minutes, Keller,
I read them and I'll say yes. I wasn't here, but I did read them. Which one, nobody here.
McCreary is absent, Foreman. Litz,
Yes.
Schaffner absent.
All right, may I have the approval of minutes of the October 9th council meeting?
Form makes a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
Second,
Liz seconds it.
roll call.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
And we have approval of the agenda, please.
Form makes a motion, we approve the agenda as written.
Kell second.
Roll call.
Cosgray.
Yeah.
Keller,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Litz.
And we have three visitors. Rick Ellis, Scott, and, oh my gosh, Kenny,
You can.
Steve. I'm getting old, Steve, I'm sorry. Anybody want to talk about anything in the council?
The only thing I was gonna ask is, I know next week there's gonna be a meeting, a public meeting upstairs with the county commissioners. So they've had 4 in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I went to a couple of them, and the only thing I can tell you is that the places, the townships and the towns weren't really prepared for the amount of people, A, and B, there was not a time, it wasn't organized enough to where, because I think there'll probably be people that want to talk. And I would let, I would maybe do like you do here with the list. I would do the same thing for that when people come in for that meeting.
Okay,
Because I expect there'll be quite a few people there.
okay,
And I would make sure that the commissioners know that because you are letting them come here, that they may be asked, they're going to be asked some questions.
okay,
Just because they didn't act like that at the other meetings. Like they didn't want to answer any questions. Yes. So that, I mean, the whole point of them coming,
I'll send that email to Mr. Fix.
Our operators will be at that meeting.
Oh, perfect. Are we gonna have, anything for mics or any of that kind of
Sound
stuff? Are
system.
we gonna need
Oh.
a sound system?
I don't know that they have anything up there.
They do. They used it in the past,
And who do I talk to?
probably Brandy or
Okay,
Steve.
She's coming back, but I'll reach out to Steve tomorrow.
I think she's flying back today.
He's up there every day. I'll reach out to Steve.
Okay. Thank you, Rick.
Yep.
And Steve, do you have anything to add?
I just saw on there one of the agendas about the east side drainage and what was going on there, heard a mention in the service meeting, what is going on.
Let us get to that later in the meeting. Yeah. Okay.
I think Scott has the information on
Scott,
the.
you good, then, so you go home?
yeah.
You want to go home, Scott?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
There's a point for honesty.
You got that around.
Yeah, I think everybody's got it. Everybody,
If you have an extra one, great.
Yes. Everybody else got one?
So this is the cost information from both Neptune and Badger that I got from them this week. Here I got at the top the number of meters the service stations have in the village. And it details our need, which currently is 73 meters that need to be replaced. You'll see the Badger meters are a bit cheaper than the Neptunes. The Badger meters have two components. I've broken them down so that you can get the total cost of a single unit. I should have made a copy of what they sent me. As far as the cellular unit, this is what I want us to move towards, get away from radio reads and get to the cellular units. If you look at the cost at the bottom where I have the cost of an entire cellular unit versus the bottom where it says Neptune price of replacement, we were gonna buy 73 meters for the 73 that are broken, and that would have broken down to $22,000, almost $23,000 just to get our entire the 73 replaced with cellular read units. Well, with radio read units, that was from Neptune. If you look at the price that the Badger meters for their cellular units, it's even cheaper than what we would have been paying for their radio units had we continued to move to Neptune.
But doesn't it look like Neptune's cellular units are pretty comparable?
Yes, they're pretty similar in price. The Neptune, if you go with the 73 versus the 73, it's about $3,000 more from the Neptune. So generally, we're not getting anything more or less. If you want to ask about customer service, we can have a conversation about that. But as far as the product itself, it's pretty much on par with what the other company
I'll
offers.
make sure that I know what I'm looking at here. The second line, the 73 cellular units and the price there for Badger, and then right across from it's Neptune's price.
Yes.
They're within $15 of each other.
Yeah, but look at the per year cost.
They're within $100 of each other.
So that plus per year would be the price of the cellular service that we would have to pay for, almost like a cell phone bill. Each meter costs, for Neptune, the cellular coverage is $13 per meter per year. And for Badger, the cellular cost is $13 per meter per year. And for Neptune, it's $14 per meter.
And that's in the second line above, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So down at the bottom, I put what it would cost to get our entire system over to either Neptune or Badger, both for cellular. It would be around $369,000 for the Badger system, $421,000 for the Neptune system. That's every meter on every house switching over to these cellular units. I would try to get maybe a 10-year plan. Spend about, I didn't write down how many meters I would purchase there, but let me do some math real quick.
Looks like about 10%. 120 or so.
Yeah, 128 per year. If we were able to buy 128 per year, that would be $36,000 a year with the Badger and $42,000 a year with Neptune.
And it would take 10 years to accomplish the complete.
Yes, at that rate, I didn't want to go above that. So it's all up to council what they want to do. That's the information I have from both companies. You got any questions? I didn't. I included the price of a single shutoff unit from Badger at the top. I did not get a quote for a shutoff unit from Neptune, but those units are pretty pricey, and I doubt that we would want to fit those in every single home.
So it makes sense that the choices would be between the radio frequency meter and the cellular unit.
I don't think it makes sense to go with the radio frequency unit just based off the cost of upgrading to something that the system is that the industry is gonna move towards anyway.
No, and that raises the next question. In 10 years, when we start this project, what's the technology gonna be?
I don't want to start it in 10 years. I want to start it now, maybe in 10 years.
No, that's what I mean. But in 10 years, when everything's done, where are we gonna be then?
That's a good
You
question.
never know.
Yeah.
That's the way technology is, but if you don't start moving towards the technology, you know, you fall further.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you do.
So you as an operator, do you have a preference?
No.
So you're fine with the Badgers if we decided to just continue?
Yes.
Would, the Neptune units we have installed be able to remain in place and functional and read them with radio read, or would you recommend changing them out?
So the software that we're using to read them is going out of date. The company that makes that software doesn't make that software anymore. Eventually that'll have to be changed out if we're not going to purchase Neptune software.
Is that a third party from Neptune?
Okay, the goal is to change everybody's anyway, so changing those doesn't change the equation. Okay.
And the guarantee on these, are they, you know, when we're finished in 10 years, are the first ones that you change out gonna be
Yeah, they
10 years?
estimate that the lifespan on them is 10 years. I don't know if they have a warranty on that, but the lifespan on the meter is about 10 years.
So we may be replacing the first 128 when we're done with our last 128 or
Yes, yes.
whatever.
So probably all 1,200 installed now, except for the new ones, are well over 10 years old.
Some of them, the ones that are bad now are the older ones. The ones that are the 73 that I got on the list, majority of those are the ones that we installed 10 years ago. Are the really, really old ones.
10 years.
10 to 15 years. Sometimes they last longer, but
How long ago were you for them? Mine's been in a long time.
mhm.
So there's some probably been in 30 years.
No, I got a new one. I remember, guy from Thurston come over and help put it in.
Yeah,
Chafin.
Jason. Okay.
Steve, Tom, yeah, Chafin, and, yeah, I got the one, you
I
know.
know the one at the hardware is 16 years old.
Yeah,
and
yeah, the 2 inches are different. This is the 2 inch.
Mine, might be 10 years old. Yeah, you know.
They last a pretty long time, but currently all the meters that we have, Neptune doesn't, nobody supplies what we have anymore. Badger doesn't supply, Neptune doesn't supply.
So we don't have a choice. We really have to change to something.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get changed.
And if we're gonna change it, the cellular's better.
Correct.
You can just sit in the
You can sit in the office, you get more real-time data, it's better service to the customers, being able to see what's going on in their homes, how much water they're using, if they got leaks.
Is there an alert on it that notifies like if there's,
Yeah, we've had houses
Right.
that freeze up that were vacant, that the water ran for a month.
Yeah, the meters will let you know if that's happening. I'll let you know if there's water that's supposed to be on, if it's high usage, if there's a break, it'll let you know. It can detect how much water people use on average for an hour, so it would know if there's a break. This is, and we already paid for that software. We just don't have the meters to do what that software is capable of.
All right.
upgrades to the software? Are there upgrades to the software? Occasionally.
Yeah, I think they will let us know if there is a upgrade or update to it.
Badger,
But the current Beacon software that we're using, I think it will do everything else.
okay. Is that a third party also, or is that,
Uh,
does Badger have their own?
Well, Badger
Okay,
is
so-
from Beacon. It's their,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's within the same,
Yes.
it's not like Neptune, where it's third party.
Neptune has its own too. It's just since we didn't pay for the software, we have to use a third party. We haven't purchased Neptune software.
We have purchased Beacon software.
Gotcha. Okay.
But Neptune offered free software until we made the switch.
Good idea.
So I heard one reason that the previous council, or whatever you want to call it, wanted to leave Badger is because customer service.
Yes.
And do you have an issue with that?
I'll say Neptune has better customer service. They seem to have a bigger team. They're more responsive. Badger really took quite a while to get back to me. Even with this information right here, I didn't get it until 2:50 on Friday, which means I had to put it all together today. So Neptune definitely has far superior customer service, in my opinion. but they are more expensive.
I have a question.
We did
Yes, sir.
talk about this.
So if there's 73 meters that aren't working, that's 73 houses in this town.
Yes.
That their water meter. So how do we charge them for their water if we don't know what they're using?
Rough estimate.
Just rough estimate.
Everybody's got a minimum they have to.
Yeah, okay. So they're just getting charged the minimum bill then?
Yes.
Okay, what does council want to do? Is this the decision we need to make tonight?
No. You may want to wait for all of council. And Bibler. I talked about.
Brian needs to chime in.
That'll be a perpetual like $30,000.
Yeah. It's been meeting.
There's a budget line item here that we need to make sure we got.
Yeah.
So.
Which I think we do got covered. That's less than what we were planning on spending on meters this year from Neptune. We're planning on spending 40,000 on meters from Neptune this year. That was in our budget.
We're gonna have to eat a few Neptunes on this if we stay with Badger, right?
Correct. We'll be eating $30,000 that we've already invested in Neptune.
Can't tell them or anything.
So the ones we have right here, they're willing to take those back. They haven't been used. They're gonna,
The 73.
yeah. Well, no, not all of them. They're gonna probably want to date the ones that we have on the shelf. What I put 40 that we have on the shelf in the plant, and the ones that are in the system, the 30 that we have installed. They're not gonna take.
At the 40 on the shelf, what do you mean they're gonna date it?
I assume they're gonna want to know how old they are. They said that they could take them back. There's no guarantee that they will. I assume they're gonna want to figure out how old they are before they decide to take those back. If they take them.
No, we're trying to find a city of abilities to use it.
Yeah, certain villages use them. I think Southwest Licking.
Well, there, somebody will probably find
It's
it.
around, I think, yeah.
That's right, right.
They're good meters.
The technology we're talking, I just want to be clear on a couple of things. The technology we're talking about prevents the need to enter a home for meter reading.
The sound.
We already have.
Right now, we don't have to enter homes for meter reading. We get in the van, we drive by and we pick them up throughout the day.
You still have to do that.
Not if we get cellular. It'll all be transmitted 4 times a day to the computer.
I guess that's what I wanted to be clear on. It's just how much.
Yeah. So it's not real time, but it's 4 times a day. It's really enough time for the system, for you to spot trends in the system, let you know what's going on.
And once again, you don't have a preference. They're both good, decent companies.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad from Neptune. We use Badger across town at the other municipality, and we don't have a problem with them either. Aside from, just being slow sometimes, I would say. And that's just
a smaller company.
I think that's just supply chain issues that the country is experiencing as a whole, as opposed to just this company.
Communication issues as well.
Communication, yeah,
So
definitely.
that could be a two-way street from.
Yeah, well, he's been really slow in communication, Tony has with Badger.
Even though he stood here and told us, I understand you had a problem, but we'll take care of that. He's still
Hasn't
slow.
been the results since.
That was a different gentleman who spoke that night.
Yeah, that was a different gentleman that spoke. That was their meter specialist. Yeah. He brought the meter specialist in to speak for him.
Okay, so do we gonna table this for future meetings?
I think we should.
I didn't need it with finance and see what we'll budget for and.
Yeah,
Budget like
I'd say we
$40,000.
probably should discuss it for the length and service and then do a recommendation of service for them.
If you guys want more information from me, these companies, I can get that for you.
I think you should also let us know how it continues going forward.
Well, I know that
Communication with them.
apparently Neptune was going to have a meeting with their big dogs today to try to discuss keeping this account. So they seem to really be interested in this. They come by probably twice a month just to the water plant since I've been there in person.
You tell them to sharpen their pencils and give us a price break. That's all right. Alrighty, I appreciate you coming. Thank you.
No problem.
Alrighty.
see anymore.
I'm gonna make copies of these actual.
I have a mayor's report. There's a few things I'd like the public to know. Tree commission did meet. There's several trees that are being trimmed and taken down, so be aware of people. We did have the Johnson Park projects. I'll let Mr. Baker talk about that. Are you in charge?
Yeah, or Brian, do you want me to do it now or I don't mind?
Sure. Oh, you can do it yours. That'd be great. Records Commission did meet. We have not met or made a decision on records since April of 2019. So there's a lot of things Brian has to take care of, but we did meet. We're getting those moved out. We had a nuisance abatement board. There's some information in here and you'll see it. The next nuisance abatement will be November 20th at 6 p.m. here. And you guys are all welcome, please. Leaf pickup started today. A Mr. Tracy Thompson with the Bureau of Workers' Comp believes that there's about $52,000 in grants that we may be eligible for, and he's going to be here Thursday at 10. Again, Mr. Fix, the county commissioners, will be here on Monday the 30th at 7:30 upstairs. I will go ahead, thank you, Mr. Ellis, and send Mr. Fix to remind him that it's not just going to be the council and whomever, but he is there. He does want to know our thoughts on the area. So if you have any thoughts of, and I'm sure everybody knows what the commissioners have decided for us in the area. If you have any ideas, let us know. Trick or treats on the next night at Tuesday from 5 to 7. And before we meet again, it's elections. So go out and vote. And that's my report.
I would like you to mention the third graders coming by that day.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
On election day, the third graders are coming by to look at the process, see how it works. Kelly Savage is going to be head of that, bringing her little guys over. And did they want Debbie and Rick to be here?
No, they've asked Debbie and I think she's going one day and I'm going one day to go. We'll talk to the kids at the school.
School? Okay. Yep. They're going to be here to cast their ballots after whatever. So we'll probably have cookies or whatever with them for them. But that's going to be the 7th. I don't know the time yet. It'll be during school time. But they're going to be here if anybody wants to watch that fun time. Stories of interest.
Not going to talk too much about Johnson Park because Mr. Faco can cover that. It's moving along pretty well, I believe. So if any of you have any additional input, again, I apologize for those graphics, but all of that information is available on our website from the surveys. Anybody can go there and check it out. Now the survey is complete. It was finished today. So street maintenance, Granville Street project we know is done. We had a water line break on Cliff Street. Monroe Street water line replacement project, Fairfield County. We're BK Layer to do the paving. Water, we talked a lot about water. Flushed the lines last week. Good reports there, except we lost pressure down to school. That apparently is important to their bathrooms there. They have pressurized systems for that. When I talked to Scott, they had to flush those lines a little longer than usual because it's been so long. So normally they wouldn't have flushed them as long as they did. Therefore, they would have lost all the pressure. They're sensitive to that now. They're aware, so they won't do that in the future. So the non-operating wells have been treated with chlorine. They're going to be cleaned this week. I know the above ground storage tank, there's a valve that's causing that is leaking. I know Mr. Boucher and Mr. Oliver were working together to get that replaced. They're just waiting on the valve to come in. That'll take care of that. Unfortunately, when that happens, we lose good water, and it's not good. Wastewater, again, I covered the I&I letters that were sent out and the response that we got. I think it's been positive. The operators down there continue to work on the facility, and I mentioned at service tonight some of the work they've done recently in the lagoons and otherwise. Also, another project that's going to impact down there is the Bibler Lock project. We're talking with some folks about that, and I see some preservation, if not restoration, of some sort, probably going to occur there to maintain that. If Wednesday works for anyone, 9 o'clock, wastewater operators will be at the facility to welcome you there and show you around the facility. I will tell you that you're obviously welcome to go there anytime at your facility. And if you want to coordinate with either Eli Teague or Ryan Ballinger, the operators down there, they'll be more than happy to show you around. So hopefully some of you can make that. If not, again, you can coordinate through me if you like, or I believe you all probably have their phone numbers on the village roster.
It's Wednesday at 9. Yeah.
That's right. The 25th. And we talked about the commercial properties that are going through the county building department. One is for an accessory structure, the other is for an occupancy permit. The mayor talked about the abatement board, working with our code enforcement, who's seated next to me on my right tonight, and also with, I believe there are some things that the health department can do for us. And I know that there's other entities out there that we need to reach out to and help us with some of these things. Zoning is only one part of it. That's all I have.
You guys all have this nuisance abatement information. That's what we talked about. And sent out letters. Did we get it started yet?
Well, yeah, some of these have already been on our
Radar.
Yeah, I can tell you that on the day following on the 17th, the 1319 Canal Street was handed a stop work order.
That's right.
It was eventually posted at the home or the down there. That's the structure that we're really concerned about, the way it's being built. And it's outside the limits. It's outside the time limit, but it's also outside the description of the original permit. They're going to have to submit a whole new plan. It's going to have to be reviewed. I think that's one of those that we're going to have an engineer take a look at, because it's kind of taken on a different turn altogether. As far as 5 and 6 on that list, those I think will be handled by code enforcement. The Liberty Street, the 2 on Liberty Street, the first 2, obviously we're active in that. I went by there today. It's better, but it's not at its best. I'm becoming more and more concerned about the conditions inside the building.
I know neighbors have threatened to call Child Protective Services, but they haven't, because they don't want to. I know that the child in a diaper is wandering around over there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Regardless of the temperature and regardless of any kind of parental oversight.
CPS has been involved in this for months.
I don't know if they've been inside the home as much as what I've seen from the photographs I received, but I don't even know if there's a functioning washer and dryer and things like that. So all those add up to, not a good situation for them. And we continue to work with East Market Street addresses, try to get them working on some things there. So I'm sorry, that's all I had from the abatement board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. A fiscal officer, who's not here.
No report.
Travel report.
No report.
Okay. Mr. Solicitor.
One new piece of legislation is resolution 2023-25. My goal was to ask council to suspend a 3 reading rule and for the emergency basis that can't be done tonight. Because we're in full council here. So that'll have to go to the next reading, which is going to be on Monday, November 13, 2 days before the deadline for submitting the grant application. So hoping we have enough council people here then that can pass it on an emergency basis. That is for the grant application for the Swanson Park expansion and development project. In the meanwhile, we'll need information from the fiscal officer budget-wise as far as the amount of funds that are available that can be pledged towards the village's 50% portion of any development of the project. To refresh your memories, the village council approved the purchase of the property for $120,000. That will be included in the grant application. So if the application is approved, then the village will receive $60,000 of that towards the purchase price. We've received some quotes for demolition expenses, and Brian, correct me if you've received something since we last spoke, but we haven't received any firm quotes yet for the improvements, such as installation of parking places, the construction of a open air shelter house, construction of restrooms, that sort of thing. So we need that information for grant application purposes, but the contractors that we've reached out to have been real slow in responding. Maybe they're busy, which is great.
Do we have any kind of design though for them to go?
Yes, we have. Brian's gone. He's spent quite a bit of time investigating that. So the design was right.
Yes, we basically started looking at Smith Park originally, and then we branched out into some other designs. And I could bring those to the meeting and show them to you. Basically, 16 by 40 structure. One end of that being 4 accessible bathrooms with a common mechanical area entrance, an open pavilion type, nothing fancy, just a nice area of tables for gathering, accessible parking around that. So some additional parking over by the existing shelter house.
Just email that to us, like anytime, doesn't need to be right before the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
In the, is that it on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The resolution is open-ended in that it doesn't state a specific dollar amount. We followed the model that it was recommended by ODNR, who oversees the grant application process. However, the consultants that we're working with, who've been very helpful in this whole process, have recommended that at some point we include a dollar amount, whether it's a letter from the fiscal officer stating the village agrees to set aside or pledge X number of dollars for the development of this project, because that's going to be real important for the grant application process, which means it's going to come back to you folks as council members to decide, okay, what improvements do we want to go with and how much money do we want to spend towards those improvements, with the understanding that if the grant application is approved, then that would incorporate, that would end up with the village being reimbursed 50% of the cost of those improvements. If, on the other hand, the grant application isn't approved, then the village isn't obligated to move forward with those improvements. So we already purchased the property. That's a done deal.
We just wouldn't get our 50%.
Yeah, exactly. So, That's kind of where we're at with that. Just a lot of red tape with any grant application process, just a lot of red tape, a lot of redundancy in the different forms that have to be completed and filled out and all that kind of stuff. We had the second public meeting this past Saturday, and as Brian indicated, the public survey closed today. Do we have a final number on how many people?
It was 112.
Yeah.
So, okay. And the consultants are happy with that. By the way. They think that's a very good positive number for people to show interest, show a response.
And there were about 1,100, more than 1,100 people who actually
Excellent.
visited it.
Yeah, visited the site but didn't complete the
Respond.
survey. So it's generated quite a bit of interest. And the 4 top recommendations, Brian, what would you?
You had them. I printed off, I gotta tell you this, Jeff, I printed off. The problem is when I printed it off, it didn't.
Give you the
It didn't
things,
give
so
you-
those are the ones that
Yeah.
Okay, so we have bathrooms is one of the top 4, benches, walking trails, children's area, and those are kind of the biggies.
Yeah.
Even though people talk about parking, residents talk about not having enough parking in that area, that wasn't high on the priority list as far as the survey goes. And so,
For most of the residents, it looks like a plenty of parking because they're not there for a swim meet Wednesday. So, and there's a lot of town people who probably didn't look.
so anyway, that's, I think I covered everything on that. Brian, anything else you can think of that we need to update council on?
No, sir, I think probably watching the grants that are available, we talked about marrying up with another grant.
Yeah.
With the land bank, and there's also the possibility, sometimes these come back and they're funded as well as we'd like them to be. So we might have to make some cuts. I did hear about and don't hold me to this, but there are grants for like walking paths, biking paths that we might be able to also incorporate into this whole thing. Unfortunately, we're not gonna know about that until afterwards. It just depends on what all this comes in at, the price tag.
And then 2 pieces of legislation on for a 3rd reading. The one is to amend the planning and zoning code with regard to fences. That's ordinance 2023-21, and then resolution 2023-22, which is authorizes the VA to submit a grant application to the Ohio Public Works Commission for capital improvement. The other thing I would ask for is a motion to go into a brief executive session after regular business to discuss land acquisition. That's all.
I got a question for you, Jeff. Before we move on. In safety, we talked about really not a two-way stop because Mulberry goes east and west, Mill Street goes north and south, and Mill's dead ends in Mulberry. So what they do, if you come to Mulberry, you go west, you turn south on Mill. We're thinking about putting a 4-way stop there, which wouldn't be a 4-way stop, it could be a 2-way stop.
Yeah, you're confused. That one was the one we were making a park road from the core. Romulus.
Oh, that's right.
You got the right idea, just wrong
Right
streets.
idea. Yeah, I got it right.
Yeah.
Anyhow, to put a 4-way stop somewhere in the village, we got to have legislation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's easy. I mean, just to amend the traffic control. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we can't find out lots.
No, yeah, we need to have a legislation to enforce it. So especially if somebody runs a stop sign and.
Yeah, okay.
Any ticket question?
do we have to say that it's Romulus and Rome? Is that what you have to do?
Yeah, or somebody can hand it, if you have the info, you can send it. Okay, so,
Okay, anything further right now?
no, not for me.
Village Council Committee reports, the Finance Committee, please.
Okay, Mayor, I wasn't there, but the mayor, the meeting was, of course, last meeting. And our next one will be the second Monday in November, 13th of November at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. Service committee, please.
Service met this evening, and we did talk a good bit about the different departments and specifically with the East Side Drainage Project. We did not get a report from V3 that we were wanting to get, and the word is that we're gonna have to put in some drainage tile in there, but we need to get the easements first. And that's about it for that.
And then you got those, it's a one easements for East Side.
Well, I'm making a note here, but I'll need more information on that so I can get it from Wade.
You should have gotten paperwork that I sent.
Did we send you?
I don't remember receiving any paperwork on these minutes.
Okay. We'll make sure you get. Okay. Yeah. It's basically some
Or
historical.
it's already done, apparently. That's what they think.
Okay.
We also, we had the presentation about the meters too, that went through service. And our next meeting will be Monday, November 27th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Safety committee, please.
Okay, we met tonight, around 6:30, and we talked about the stop signs and what we just talked about. We talked about some about Mulberry and Main Street. Saying that's getting on fine now. And our next meeting is November the 27th after service.
Thank you. Police department, please.
The rules.
Oh, sorry.
No rules.
Mr. Rules.
We did not meet tonight, Mayor. I believe we met last two weeks ago. I believe everybody was there. Our next meeting is November 15th.
Thank you. Now the police department.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
We've got a car out service to electrical issues. We got it back today. We have assignments for trick or treat for officers in Baltimore and both contracted villages. Everybody's working on CPT training, working with organizers for the light parade. We were certified by the State of Ohio Police Consortium. Officer Monkaki is about done with his field training. And we're interviewing 2 people to fill part-time positions.
What the CPT stand?
Continuing professional training.
Perfect. Thank you. Basel Joint Fire District.
The trustees of the fire district met out at 6:11 on the 21st, 6. They are still waiting on a medic that they're getting built and will be delivered. Not quite sure when. That and they're putting a levy on for the spring for the primaries to increase millage, which is 4.5 mil levy to increase their budget. They anticipate major capital layout for new engines and stuff within the next few years that they gotta set money aside for. That's why the next meeting will be the third Thursday of November.
Thank you. Planning and zoning. We haven't had a meeting.
We haven't had a need for anything. I don't have anything now that needs to go before.
Okay. Tree commission, I gave a little bit of information about that, and the records commission, I gave that to you also. Motions.
I make a motion we get into executive session after whatever the ordinance is just the group is here tonight at the table.
You got a second on that one?
Second.
Okay, once we get through the ordinances and all the new business, we'll ask the visitors to step out. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go to ordinance and resolutions, first reading. Village Administrator, this is 2023, 25. I'm gonna need a sponsor for that, please.
I can afford that.
You wanna give us information?
Well, I think Jeff talked about it quite a bit tonight about the property we own, Summer Choice. And so, and we can't pass the time, but next meeting, we like to have everybody here so we can pass that merge and get that going.
We don't have a choice, right?
Yeah, we have.
We'd have to have a special. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we anticipate that,
So we might get email.
if we anticipate there aren't gonna be at least 5 council members present at the November 13th meeting, then we should have.
If we had 5 at the meeting on the 30th, would we be able to just do that?
Is that a regular meeting? Right?
Well,
It's a
yes,
public meeting.
It's a public meeting, but it's not a regular council meeting, so.
Well,
Unless you want
should
to
have some-
schedule.
I
a
guess
regular
that's what
council
I'm
meeting
saying, is it,
before that.
like, if we're all gonna be there already, we can schedule it for that purpose. That way, we got at least 2 more shots at it before.
Could, you
Before
could
the deadline.
schedule a special meeting before that, just.
That's
for
not
the
till
first-
7:30, we do it at 7 and just get it done.
Yeah.
Do it here.
Yeah, right here. Walk up.
Sounds like one.
We just have to have, Brian
Publish.
publish it. Okay. Resolution 2023-24. On this Baltimore First Lieutenant Committee for the use of, here's Brandy's that sponsor, isn't she?
I don't know that,
All of it's on there. I thought.
It wasn't withdrawn. This is the one where, I believe
Yes.
council decided to let it go to a second reading to see whether or not
She came back.
yes, the person requesting it was gonna rethink it and say, well, you know, I do want to move forward with this. I still want, the village to approve a special use.
I think she just wanted everyone to, something else.
So what do we do with this?
Well, one option is for somebody to make a motion to adopt and nobody second it and just let it die. So
But that would be by emergency. We almost have to let it run the same 3rd reading anyway.
you could let it run the third.
I'd say let it run and then,
Yeah. It's not gonna hurt anything to let it go to one reading,
Next
so.
meeting.
yeah, pass it and let it fail next meeting.
Okay. All right, our third reading is 2023-21, and this material is that one. This is an ordinance to amend chapter 1272.05 planning and zoning. General development standards for fences of the Baltimore codified ordinances. This is to take it from 5 feet off, or no, 1 foot off the property line to on the property line, so that we don't have an in between.
So I can form and make a motion to adopt,
Well, but we should have another sponsor.
change sponsorship, but
Who would like to do that?
no sponsor.
Okay. Foreman's changing to the sponsor, and you're making a
Form
motion.
makes a motion to adopt.
Pause for a second.
Cosgray, Keller,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Litz.
Yes. Motion passed. And resolution 2023-22, Mr. Foreman.
Yes, this was simply authorizing the village administrator to apply for participation in OPWC program. Emergency language is included in this, so it would take effect immediately. Foreman makes a motion to adopt.
Second,
John seconds.
Cosgrove.
Well, I gotta have a discussion on this.
discussion?
If there is any.
I don't, but I should ask. Yes.
Discussion? Roll call.
Cosgrave?
Yes.
Keller?
Yes.
Foreman?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes. Motion passed. You don't have any title ordinances? Old business. We have some things that are still, on the to-do list. The direction signs for the schools, we're working on getting those because none of those are correct. Plus they're white and not very clear anyway. So we're working on getting those. Do we know anything about the stitch line property? Mr. Baker?
No, I don't have any updates on that.
Last thing I knew, he was talking about whether or not there was some kind of payment for allowing, wasn't that part of the conversation?
My recollection is that he's inquired a while ago, actually, about whether the village ever reimburses property owners for granting of permanent easement. And the village traditionally does not.
No.
In exchange, however, for the landowners granting an easement, the village will oftentimes contribute to the construction costs, agree to pay for an upsize in the drainage pipes or whatever it might be, at no cost to the property owner. I passed that information on to the property owner. And my recollection is that the village, some employees here at the village were going to meet the property owner out there to walk over the property to identify exactly where the easement area was going to be, where this pipe was going to be. And I believe Tim Boucher was going to be involved in that on-site visit. And that's the only update I have on that.
So we leave it on the to-do list?
Yes, but I think what I need to do is get a hold of Tim and Nathaniel, go out to the property, and if we need to come back here and sit down and decide,
Okay.
this is how we're going to proceed. My understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, the village is willing to buy the pipe. He, Mr. Sisline had made arrangements to have it installed.
Yeah, he had a contractor lined up. Is that recollection?
Right, and as long as everybody agrees to that, being Mr. Sisline particularly, then we'll just move forward with it.
East Side Project, we already talked about that. We're getting information. I do believe we have some of the easements, but they have to be approved. And once the easements are done, and we're just gonna put a pipe down through there and head it on down the road. Takes forever.
Down the creaky.
Down the creek. Across the road and under the road. Windows in Town Hall, what's happening with that?
I'm sorry.
Windows in the
Oh,
town-
windows. I didn't catch what you said there.
Sorry.
My last contact with Rosati was that they would be out either the end of October or first of November. So we're right in that time frame
For the install.
for the install. They've already done the final measurement and they're ready to install. Their comment to me was that they were waiting on production. So
Okay, so those are
on the way.
on the way. All right.
And as I recall, it's the first 2 floors.
Is it this one and that one, or is it that?
The
The
upper,
top ones? That's what I thought.
yes, first 2 floors.
Oh, I thought they were doing the whole south side.
I'll look at it again. I'm pretty sure it was,
Yeah, if they're on one side of the building.
I thought we were doing all of the whole south side, not just first and middle floors this year.
I don't.
well, I'll go back and look at
That
it.
was my understanding.
Mr. Kinney, do you have any questions or what you're here for?
I don't understand what y'all are talking about. I don't know who specific.
Okay. First of all, the village has to have easements behind, basically in Roger's property, but and our properties. He says we already have some, so we're sending that to our solicitor. There's already there, then from about my property on out.
To hold.
Well, not out to Holder, out toward Hannah's property. We have to make sure we've got those easements.
That was almost like an open ditch. No, there's a tile.
There's a
15-inch
tile behind
on
Hannah's.
Hannah's property, and that's where the biggest failure problem is. Right where the. As you go towards the.
Yep.
Yep, that's where the major failure is. And we just need an easement to get in there and get it replaced.
And that's what we're working on now. Once that easement's done, then it's in the hands of Baltimore.
Well, we were hoping for written confirmation from B3 that that is indeed what the problem is and that it will indeed solve it, which we still do not have. But that's what we are anticipating in the report when we get it. And then we just need the easement to fix it.
We just have to keep hoping. That's what we're doing right now. We're working on it. Okay. All right. New business. Problem has come up that we have apartments and or buildings that have more than 2 or 3 apartments in it. We are talking about possibly getting dumpsters for those, requiring them to have dumpsters for their tenants. So that they're just gonna have, 15 trash dumpsters out there. We want them to have one. The owners have to pay for it, blah, blah, blah. What's your thoughts?
We're talking 3 or more, or we're talking 4 or more?
It's your choice. I say 2 or more, but
If you did 2 or more, then you would get into duplexes.
Yeah, I lean towards 3 or more.
okay. Fine.
And
What's everybody
quite
think?
honestly, that's where the problem is.
3 or more?
We have yet to have a problem with 1 and 2.
Okay. I believe that's part of our problem. That's a couple of these nuisance abatement problems, is that they don't have any place to put their trash, so they just kind of throw it out there, and therefore then.
And one that's not been a nuisance abatement problem yet, but I hear complaints about it.
Would be-
The drug house, the drug department, if that 3-family has trashed everywhere all the time, then neighbors have complained to me about it, but I know they haven't taken it to be on me. To council, and I don't know if you.
Do we need an ordinance for that?
Well, I mean, we have ordinances that we can enforce as far as
The trash.
trash.
Not the owner required to provide a trash receptacle.
Right.
Would
And,
that help us?
well, I want to make sure I know what we're talking about. On one hand, we're talking about anything with 3
Units or more.
or more.
Mhm.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
I think we can probably find some draft language that would probably work for us.
Yeah.
It's not,
I agree.
yeah, it's not too difficult.
We should have legislation for that. Quite frankly, especially if we're putting the burden on the property owner / landlord.
To provide a trash receptacle.
Exactly. So, yeah. Has it been through service this topic or not?
Oh, no. Should we do that first?
Some builds like a bunch of condos. So
And condos would be different because they're single resident.
Condos would be HOA too.
Yeah, generally.
Okay, we'll send it to service first. Get that moving. You guys think of anything else that's been happening that we need to address in council? Visitors, do you have anything else to add? Questions? Statements? Don't forget to vote. Okay, we're gonna have the last call and we're gonna go into executive committee. And we need our visitors to leave. Thank you so much.
No, we can't adjourn that.
We don't turn it off because we have to have it on when we adjourn, right?
It said stopped.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're in executive and we'll come back to adjourn.
Did you have a chance to upload that map?
Sorry.
So what are you doing?
I think so. We're gonna,
You want the parcel number?
No, I did. I didn't.
Pull that up on the county auditor. Brian, easiest way maybe just to go to the county auditors.
That's- that's what I'm gonna try to do.
Here's the parcel number. The council. While you're doing that.
00240 something. 0240.
021004450. You need to repeat it. Be happy to do that.
Not yet. I think I got it.
So here's the issue. The Keller family contacted the village recently. They have two separate parcels of property. One is the one we're talking about this evening primarily, that they want to annex into the village. Is a roughly an 84-acre parcel that's on the southeast corner of 158 and the intersection of that. Yeah, I believe it's Pickle Church.
Okay.
I think it is Pickle Church. Pardon, north of town. Yeah, it's north of town, north of town, on the south, again, on the southeast corner of that intersection. That property abuts the village corporation limits. And so it is an annexable parcel.
Via Hall Park, right?
Oh,
Via
one behind
Hall
Hall Park. Okay,
Exactly,
we got it.
exactly.
North of Hall Park.
So, it's one parcel number, but it's the number of different, smaller parcels that make up that parcel number. And so, when the Keller family, Jim Keller actually reached out and said, hey, the family would like to annex this. Is that something that's doable? And so I looked into it. It's definitely annexable, in my opinion. The process requires a couple things. One, it requires that the property owners agree that if the village advances any expenses for this annexation process and the owners back out at any step along the way, that the owners agree to reimburse the village for its out-of-pocket expenses, which the Keller family has done. So it's multiple owners, but they're all part of the Keller family.
Hang on just a second.
Sure.
I am totally,
Yeah.
hold on just a second. I want to make sure we're not.
Yeah, so Jim.
Well, it's part of it's owned in the
Okay.
trust, part of it's owned by Robert Dern, part of it's owned by Cynthia Eastep, who are all
Yeah.
part of the Keller clan.
Yes.
That's what I call it.
They are.
So, are you on the county auditor?
What I want to do is I want to make sure that we're not broadcasting right now.
Oh.
It would be nice.
It's just share screen, which would be with that laptop, not with.
So just. So don't.
Well, you can technically end the meeting if you had to. We can always adjourn off the record. So.
Rather than go back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.